Welcome to 100 Units. Thanks for tuning in. I'm excited to have David with us. He's from State Property Management. He's been in the property management and real estate business for several decades. He is an expert in this space. Very excited. David, give a quick introduction to everybody.
Hi, everyone. I'm David Weber, as Joe said. I'm the broker and operating manager of State Property Management right here in Central Florida. We focus exclusively on long-term property management. Our portfolio includes, small to mid-sized multifamily communities, single-family homes. We also have some unique asset types. We have a small RV park community that we manage as well. Our mission, our goal is to protect the asset, to optimize performance, and create stable and predictable returns for our clients by running clean, well-maintained communities with strong systems, communication, and resident care. We believe that's the key to success for our clients.
Excellent. Man, that I didn't realize about the RV park. I did not know that.
That's a real unique asset. One of our owners that has several properties, he's got a small RV community and asked us to manage that. So we accepted the challenge, and it is a different ball game, but it's interesting.
Excellent. All right. Well, here's a big one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Top 3 factors multifamily investors should consider when hiring a property management company.
Wow. I'd say the 3 things to look for. Number 1, operational systems and process discipline. Strong management comes from consistent systems, leasing workflows, turn schedules, triaging maintenance, vendor oversight, renewals and reporting. If a company can't clearly explain how they operate, the results will always vary. And number 2, I consider transparency and communication, because you want a company that communicates proactively, provides clear financial reporting, and explains decisions. Good management should reduce stress, not create more of it. And that's our goal for the owners, to have the least amount of stress possible with their properties. I'd also, number 3, I'd look at the ability to execute locally, even if the back end is centralized, because today a lot of the back end operations, whether it be accounting, marketing, call handling, leasing funnels, they can be managed remotely very effectively. But what matters is that the management team still has a local execution capacity, whether it be a strong vendor network, quick maintenance response, capability of on-site presence when needed, knowledge of local regulatory and permitting realities. So it's not where about the office sits, it's more about whether they can deliver timely, consistent on-the-ground results. So those are the 3 things I would look at when selecting a management company.
Yeah. What are ways that a management company increases the value of the property?
Well, you have to look at the 2 sides. You can increase income and you can control expenses. On the income side, you want to optimize rent positioning based on real market data. You want to increase retention to reduce turn costs. And you can implement amenity and service upgrades that align with residents' value. Of course, that's dependent on the size of the community and property and location. Things such as Amazon lockers, community grills, dog park areas, valet trash services. These can all increase income, but it also, again, depends on the property. Is it A, B, C class? Will the area accept that? On the expense side, preventative maintenance to avoid major capital hits. A small example would be regular AC filter changes, regular AC drains. If you've got upstairs units, so they don't leak down. Vendor standardization also helps, and material standardization also helps save on costs as well. Buying bulk almost always reduce costs. Another way on the expense side is tracking and improving unit turn times and vacancy days. We use data, whether it's response times, turn durations, delinquency, unit level performance. This all helps drive decisions and to continuously improve the NOI. So
those are the two big ones, is the net operating income on the one side, and then the shape and deferred maintenance and or lack thereof, or capital improvements to make the property look good, to push the cap rate down so investors are willing to accept a slightly lower return. Those are kind of the two big levers of a property.
Definitely, yes, for sure, for sure.
There's some situations sometimes where the owner has one objective or one way of doing things, one thing that they're looking for as an investor, and then the property manager, sometimes they're aligned and work well together, and sometimes they're actually somewhat divergent. What are the best ways for investors to work with their property management company?
I would say the most important thing is to set expectations early and stay aligned on the investment strategy. I mean, is it a long-term hold? Is it a value add? Or are you looking for stabilization for the property? That strategy should drive the operational decisions. And then another thing is to make sure you keep communication open, whether it be approving needed repairs promptly so small issues don't become major capital problems. And as an owner, be willing to respond to market feedback, because sometimes the market tells us something we don't want to hear, and adjusting early prevents longer vacancies. We found that the success comes when ownership and management operate as one unified asset, a management team. Because once the management team has earned the trust of an owner, let them run with it. You hired them for a reason. After all, they do have the experience. And you have to remember, they may not have the same processes as you, as an owner, may do things, but it's not necessarily the process that matters. It's the outcome that matters, and the performance that matters. So that's how I say investors can work best with their management company.
When talk to investors who are purchasing an asset into here for the first time, I always recommend that during their due diligence period, they meet with and actually interview at least 3 management companies, because all have different, pros and cons, like everything. And some people you just get along with better. What are some of the red flags that investors should look out for when they're interviewing potential multifamily property management companies?
What the things that I'd watch for are promises of high rent without market justification. That seems to be a lot of promises that those type of promises can't necessarily be met. Also looking at their maintenance processes, if they're vague or unclear about that's a flag as well. How they report, delayed or inconsistent reporting. Do they have high staff turnover or lack of leadership continuity? And another big thing is, do they have documented operational systems? Or are they flying by the seat of their pants? I always say, if you feel like you're being sold instead of advised, I'd say that's usually a warning sign. So,
for, as an investor, one of the metrics is gross income. That's important to see. What are your recommendations for investors when they have a market where it's actually facing some rental challenges, to continue to push and get the most they can from their gross income for their property?
I found through experience that growing income isn't about pushing rent just for the sake of pushing rent. I mean, it's about adding value, um, whether it be convenience amenities that residents actually use, a clean, well cared for common area, the buildings, lawn, gardens, etc. We found that even a C class, if the outside of the community looks well maintained, tenants tend to feel more proud of their community. You don't need to have the most up-to-date interior. It can be just clean and functional, but if the exterior looks friendly and maintained, that's what people judge the community by. You know, whether they have friends come over, hey, this is a nice place. And we found that that definitely adds value. Responsive communication and maintenance. Um, Depending on the class of asset, smart unit upgrades with measurable rent lift. That's again, if the market will bear granite counters, stainless appliance, marble shower enclosures. You need to know your local market before using this type of strategy because you know I've had people that want to reposition a C class property into an A or B class, but it's still in a C class area, and it just doesn't work. So you have to be smart and knowledgeable of the area. So another thing also is eliminating terms as much as possible, tenant retention. So we try to start the renewal conversations early, you know, 90 days out, so we can resolve any issues to help build that retention and try to secure occupancy before a unit goes vacant. These all of these help reduce either help reduce expenses or grow gross income. And it's not necessarily, as I said, about pushing the rents to the limits. There's a lot of different factors.
For when you do have a vacancy, which does come up, what are your effective strategies to market to bring in the best and not just the highest paying tenant, but also the most qualified tenants?
Um, as far as marketing and advertising to attract qualified tenants, you have to take a property specific and market responsive approach because every submarket and asset class behaves differently. So we adjust strategies accordingly. Our core elements, you know, we take photography, 360-degree tours, floor plans, and a strong online listing presentation because how the property shows online makes the first impression. Also, broad syndication across major rental websites to maximize exposure. Today, everyone's schedule is all over the place, so leasing agents can't necessarily. If you have a community that doesn't warrant having a site manager on site, staff on site, self-guided showings when appropriate can really allow prospects to tour your property on their schedule, which reduces the friction, you know, and increases lead to tour conversion. There's market sensitive lease up tactics such as on-site banners and signage. Depending on the market, move-in incentives when competition is high, and always be fluid with your pricing adjustments based on up-to-date comps and demand levels. The key is to meet the prospective residents where they are. Make the touring and application process simple and respond quickly because speed and convenience often determine which community they choose. So.
On the other side, the best tenants and most profitable tenants are the ones that renew and
Yes.
stay in place. What are your strategies for tenant retention?
Uh, we believe that retention starts with how you treat people. Um, Clear and respectful communication, fast and organized maintenance handling, because maintenance is one of the biggest issues tenants have. Proactive property condition inspections, keeping the property clean, safe, well run with special attention to the exterior of the community. Because again, that's what people see first. And if they're proud of their community, they'll be proud of their home. And it's just, we found that is a real key to, because they even by the exterior and handling your maintenance, you can have an outdated community inside, but if the outside looks great, somehow people are happy. And residents stay where they feel valued and where daily life is not a hassle. So good management reduces friction, and that alone keeps turnover down. So
Yeah. All right. The golden nugget section of the interview. The top pieces of advice for multifamily investors that you wish that they knew.
I wish that they would know. I wish they'd be clear and realistic on their strategy. Cash flow, value add, repositioning, because each strategy requires different decisions, methods, and processes. So it's so important to be, and I'm sure you know before they purchase, that is, you need that clear strategy in place. And don't let deferred maintenance pile up. I'm sure there's people who have bought communities that have had deferred maintenance deferred, and they end up dealing with it. So it just compounds into larger capital issues and damages your tenant trust. So that's a big thing. And another thing is make sure you choose a manager you trust, and then partner with them. Don't be a micromanager. They know their market. They know what they're doing, because when investors and managers operate collaboratively and view each other as long-term partners, we found that the property always performs much better. So those are the things I would advise investors to look at moving forward. So
excellent. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been great, Joe.
Excellent. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on 100 Units, and this will be live everywhere soon.
Have a great day.